Welcome to the Bill Levinson Experience, a motivational podcast relating to the insurance brokerage industry and business in general. And now, here's Bill Levinson.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Bill Levinson Experience podcast. Here we are, episode 60. And what's crazy is we're already in early August, summertime 2025. Hopefully it's been a good year. Hopefully, if not, you're wrapping up on the stronger side, right, of 25 and then come out swinging in 26. We're back again monthly, as you know, live, episode 60, and it's a special episode, and here's why I'm not saying that lightly. So, as you're aware by now, we have a huge audience nationally, and we have a lot of agents. We have a lot of CPAs, financial planners. We have, in fact, newer agents right out of high school and college getting into the business. And I'm so glad, number one, that you follow the show, that you watch and listen and learn from these episodes. But on episode 60, what's interesting here today is we have a father and son partnership, and age-wise, very similar to myself and Carrie. In fact, their story in getting involved with the business is very similar to Carrie and myself as well. In fact, even our last names are so similar. So you all know it's Levinson and Associates is our company, and Eddie and his son Buster, their last name is Levin. Okay, so you talk about similarities, right, in the business and out of the business. I've been wanting to do this show, this episode, for a long time now. So here we are finally. I know we spoke about it at the expo, but finally we are here on August 6th broadcasting this version. So super excited. And I want to welcome Eddie and Buster Levin to the show. So I want to say thank you for sharing the time with us, Eddie and Buster. And I'm very excited about the next 45 minutes. You want to say hello to everyone listening?
Yes, good morning. This is Eddie. Thank you very much, Bill. Buster and I are both excited about this opportunity to be able to hopefully help those associates of yours and ourselves too. I think it'll be a win-win combination, but thank you for this opportunity. We are honored and privileged with being able to help you with the podcast.
Oh, thank you, Eddie. Thank you. And Buster, you want to say a few words before I jump in here?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Super excited to share and be part of this, and just look forward to the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, what I want to mention too is, you know, what's so similar here is, you know, you have Eddie Levin, right? CLU, CHFC, MDRT, top of the table, right? He's been in the business now for over 50 years. So, you know, when you talk about Kerry Levinson, my father, right, you see the dynamic here, and you see it's a very similar story. And then you have his son, who's close to my age, and he is big on social media and building brands and advertising and Facebook groups. And I mean, he's got pages he's built, I believe, on Instagram and Facebook with thousands and thousands of followers. So, you know, you have the insurance guru, right, who's crushed it for so many years. And then you have his son, who is his partner in business, who's fantastic on the social media marketing side and branding awareness side. And it just makes for that 1-2 punch and a great combination, especially in this business. So that's why this was intriguing to me, and that's why we wanted to do this for so long. So, you know, what I want to do also is say, you know, I have known Eddie now. It's been over 10 years. Carrie has also he's known Eddie for over 10 years now. They have done a fantastic job with our company, Levinson and Associates. I wanted them to come on the episode to share some of these nuggets and wisdom with you all, right? So you can walk away with an idea or two, maybe that you didn't know yesterday, right? Or this morning, whenever you're listening to this. So that's a good point. And then a bigger point is if you're a newer agent out there, or maybe you're a seasoned agent and you've been doing this for 41 and a half years, that's okay too. They're actually open to working with agents. So if you're interested in partnering up with the Levin family, okay, which is obviously Eddie and Buster and their team, I'm going to share their contact info when we wrap up in about 40 minutes here. So you'll have their social media pages, their website, and their contact info, or reach out to us and we would be more than happy to make the introduction. Okay, so let's jump in here. Question one, and I just want to talk about, here's this father and son team, like I said, very similar to Carrie and myself. Eddie, if we'll start with you. If you could take everyone back to day one, how you wound up in this crazy business of ours, right? I think it's the best kept secret in the world, but just tell the audience how it all started.
Well, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. I'll try to be brief on that, but a little bit background. I was homeless at age 3. My dad left me when I was 3 years old. My mother had a lobotomy and a nervous breakdown, and she was in a mental hospital ever since then. So the state of Louisiana took over my custody, and I became a ward of the state, and they moved me around to 13 different foster homes while I was young. And I think that helped to form my personality and, a lot of attitudes and just my general makeup was formed by this background. So I didn't realize it so much, but I started to become a very independent person, very self-reliant. I did have some problems with self-esteem, and that background, I think, is all very important to how I wound up. Well, I felt like education might be the key to me breaking the chain of where I was, this foster situation, and being, uprooted so much. And so I got a summer job, and I went to LSU as my college to try to get my education. And that went well for the most part. I played a lot when I started, played cards a lot, and I didn't apply myself to the education. But anyway, I learned my lesson through my fiance at the time. Sandy and I have now been married 57 years this year in about 2 months. So she's one lucky woman. I'm teasing. I meant to say I'm lucky. But anyway, coming out of college, I got my MBA, and then I got a job. I thought it was a career for life with one of the large computer companies, which is now Unisys. And I became the youngest sales manager in the United States for them at age 24. And I was really happy with that. But my next promotion was going to be to the regional staff in Tampa, and I was going to have to travel around the southeastern United States. And because of my background with my dad leaving me and my mother being, not, I hate to say unfit, but she wasn't able to take care of me, I didn't want to be away from my children. And, excuse me. So when I knew that I would have to travel, I thought, I'm not real happy with what I see as the career path now. And I didn't realize that when I started the career. And my insurance agent, who was my own agent, I met him in college. He was a friend of mine, and he would come to my home, and he had a whole lot of freedom. He had time freedom, and he had money freedom. He would come in a new car. He would talk to me about his house. It was twice as big as mine. It was a new brick home, and I was impressed. And I thought, I would like to look into this, even though I thought the last career on earth that I would be interested in would be the life insurance business. And I thought, wow, how dumb am I? I need to rethink this. So I asked him if I could go to Houston and visit with him. I did. the next thing you knew, I decided I wanted to be in the life insurance business, and I was not willing to think about the prospect of failure, and I just never turned back. In my 51 years, I've never wanted to quit. Yes, I've had some second thoughts about this or that, whether I was not doing, not using the right sales techniques or handling objections the way that I should. I'm sure I made tons of mistakes, but I never was unhappy with the business. I always loved it. I love it now. I'm more enthusiastic about it now. And I think that now's the best time I've ever seen in this business. Go ahead, Bill.
Wow, no, that's a great story. I didn't even know some of these things. Very, very interesting. You know, and you can see the common theme. You know, we have a lot of industry influencers, MDRT agents, agencies. Actually, some people not even related to our industry. But what I notice is, and it's the common thread, the common theme, is most people that are very successful in our industry, they all never wanted to start in this industry. They always said, "Oh, I'm never going to be, you know, a life insurance agent. It's not my thing. It's just not what I dreamed about growing up." And they wound up in this field, and then here they are, fast forward, making a great living, helping so many families, and thinking it's the best kept secret in the world, or a dream come true. And that's exactly how I thought about it too. So very interesting point. What I wanted to ask you is, and I think this will help the audience, but did you start day one as an independent agent, or did you work with a career type company, just getting off the ground?
That's a great question. My agent that I went to Houston to try to learn about the career, he was not a recruiter. He was just an agent, but he was the leading agent with John Hancock at the time, leading agent in the world with them. And he told me, he said, Eddie, he said, I would suggest that you go with a major company. And he suggested three different companies, John Hancock, Northwestern Mutual, and New York Life. And he said that I would go interview with all three. He was happy with John Hancock, but he thought the others were also very good companies, and I think he's right. And but he said, if I might suggest, think about being an independent agent, because that's what he was, and he had John Hancock's permission to do that. And so when I went to interview the companies, I did just what he said. And the John Hancock GA, who was in Mobile, Alabama, when I mentioned that to him, he said, I have no problem with that. He said, I just want you to do the best job you can for your clients. And if that's not John Hancock, you pick who is the best and go forward with them. And so he was wide open with that. I've loved him like a father, really, ever since. He's now deceased, but he just took me on board with that mutual understanding, and that's how I've been ever since. And I just praise him and the company for allowing me to do that. But that's how I entered, was to be an independent from day one. The reason I didn't go with New York Life is I had just seen the movie Towering Inferno with my wife, and New York Life was on the 26th or 9th floor of the Mobile National Bank building in Mobile. And I said, I can't work on a top floor like that. I'm too afraid. So anyway, that helped me make that choice. So,
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
Yes, sir.
I'm learning a few things here.
Yeah, it's great tribute for everyone. Yeah, because these days it's if you want to be independent, you really got to find a GA that's willing to show you the ropes and take you out on appointments or Zoom calls or all the above, or you wind up being with like a Mass Mutual, you know, or a career type company.
Exactly.
So it's that is an interesting story. Like my father started in the MetLife days as a career agent, and then a career agency, and then, you know, went on his own. But that's definitely a little different.
Yes,
you know, Yeah, no, that it's great. I love to hear the different stories from different parts of the country. Um, I have a lot of friends that come up to me and they say the same thing, with the car or the house, or hey, I see you're doing well. I want to get into your business, and they say, where are you guys hiring? And I say, well, you really have to, work with a GA or a career company. And I have friends in a lot of companies that are locally here, and I typically make an introduction and say, go work with them. They'll help you get your license. Work with them for a year or two, and if you like it, and you're still working as an agent, then let's talk. But 80% of the time, they don't make it a year or two, and the ones that do wind up doing great. But that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy, but if you can make it, you see what can happen on the other side. All right, so switching gears here over to Buster. I know he helps you a lot with the branding and marketing side, and also selling products to customers of the companies. So Buster, just give us for a second a little 100-foot overview on how your dad convinced you to get involved in the business, and a little background. That would be great.
Okay, well, yeah, it's more of a story of coming full circle and really talking about what y'all were just saying about the benefits of the business. I grew up in the business, got my license at 18, did the family business, but dad, because of his upbringing, he kind of made it easy for me. And so I didn't feel like I had created anything on my own or done anything on my own and needed to go find my way. And in an effort to do that, I joined Northwestern Mutual in 2000. And then a company hired me or was going to hire me to do electronic medical record software. And that didn't work out. And so instead of falling back on the insurance business, I got into real estate and I became a realtor for 20 years in Tampa. I let my license expire about 10 years ago. I didn't feel like I necessarily needed it. And then, as the real estate industry kind of slowed down a little bit, and then one of Dad's sales was to a realtor of a significant premium. And I just thought, man, what am I doing not, tapping into that market? And, now that I've come back, I got my license, I've helped the entire time with the branding and, like you say, the websites and all that, and been pretty much the chief technical officer. But getting my license again and getting excited about it, I really regret ever leaving that I didn't establish a recurring revenue stream for myself that would have helped me in real estate. But you live and learn. But coming back to it and now being able to really look at it, we have a joke we say that Dad would say to me that if I even mentioned the word insurance, that I felt like I was putting too much pressure on somebody. And back 20 something years ago, that was true. And I knew it about myself, and I didn't think I had what it took. And it's not aggressiveness, but it's assertiveness, and people need to be helped along the way. And if I didn't possess what it took, I felt like that wasn't the right career path for me. And it took real estate and me changing and being different and then understanding some things about myself, becoming self-aware and those things, to now come back in with a new lens on the business and realize that when you really assess if you want to impact people's lives and have an opportunity to make generational difference in families, then the insurance business, real estate, you deal with their biggest asset, yes, but there's nothing like the generational impact of what we do. And in now paying 8 death claims and watching Dad, I grew up watching him sell it, but now I'm seeing him pay the claims and the impact on the families financially and what that's doing. And it's just a whole new world for me of realizing how great of a business that it is, and all the things that it's just awesome. So,
And
that's how I people.
That's 8 claims about in the last 12 months or so.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and when you see something like that happen, it changes your entire perspective on this industry. I don't care who you are. I mean, if you have a heart, you go through something like that, and it really affects you. So I totally get it.
Bill, Buster's only 6'5" and strong as a bull, but he is scared to death of mentioning the word insurance to anybody.
That's funny. That's funny.
And that's no longer truth whatsoever. So,
I agree.
uh,
You've changed, so there's hope for you. If there's hope for you, there's hope for anybody.
absolutely.
Yep,
Hallelujah.
I agree. I agree. And here we are, Buster, you and me are in a similar situation too, growing up and, having this insurance spoon in our mouth, literally. Our father is the best, mentor and best friend and best coach, and they've been through it all already. So they're kind of, saying, hey, get involved. Well, I'll show you the way, and who can you trust more, than your own dad. That's kind of how I looked at it many years ago. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't be. I love the word positioned. I couldn't be any better positioned right now in my life to excel because of what you just mentioned and being with Levinson and Associates and being just around such quality folks. And if I could do a tenth of what you've done with your dad, I would be, I'm extremely excited about my success level.
So would I.
Yep, absolutely.
It's time
It's never too late. Never too late.
Dad, you're ready to play Kerry Levinson, aren't you?
Yeah.
I am. So let me say something about Kerry, if you don't mind, Bill. But
Yeah, please. He loves this stuff.
Just in the last couple of weeks, I had a orthopedic surgeon that I was trying to place a $3 million case on, and I took him to one company, and they didn't give him the classification that I was hoping for. I took him to another. It didn't work out. I took him to another. It's the life of sometimes of being an independent agent, but this was an extreme case. A very good friend of mine, and I really wanted to do the best job I possibly could for him. And anyway, your dad made a suggestion to me to go back to one of the companies that y'all use a lot, and frankly, that was Banner Life. And he told me what he might suggest to me, and he was my mentor as he's been before this. And he made all the difference in the world between me being able to help my good friend place that insurance on him. He made the difference between that being a successful venture or not. And your dad turned the tide for that case. He advised me what to do. I went back and did it with my client. That case is now in force, and I have to praise your dad for being one of my mentors. He is actually a super agent himself, and I appreciate you guys for all the skills and caring that y'all have about your agents, your associates, and about our mutual customers.
Absolutely. I love to hear that, and this is going to make his day because he listens to every one of these episodes. So you're gonna make his night, his year, his everything. So I'll also share it with him. Thank you for that. And just so everyone's aware, right? Because you're hearing about the Levin, right, father and son dynamic duo team, right, and then myself, Kerry, and then the whole Levinson and Associates team. We are strictly 100% wholesalers, distributors, all right, for the carriers. So we work direct with the carriers. And Eddie and Buster are general agents or general agency, okay, where, yes, they work on a retail level with consumers, prospects, their own clients, book of business, and they also work with agents as well, right? And then being able to leverage all of our tools and service and Kerry's underwriting relationships that he in fact used on that case. But I just want to kind of lay that out there. And that's another good reason if you're especially a newer agent, or maybe you've been doing this a while, but you haven't been maybe that too successful in the business and you want to team up with them. But these are all reasons and another feather in your cap on why you should look into at least setting up a call and discussing the opportunity with Buster and Eddie, and then through Levinson. So I just wanted to kind of lay that out there for everyone. All right. So this also, yeah, of course. This also gives me an opportunity now to ask you guys about your business on the micro level. Tell the audience a little bit about what you guys have built, the services. Are you relying on door openers? Do you like IUL versus whole life, or what does the business model look like?
Buster, would you like me to answer that?
Yes,
Buster?
please.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
I'm a very, I think, traditional and somewhat conservative insurance agent. So, along those lines, what I do is on my business card, it starts with that. It says in prominent writing that my specialty is life insurance. So I have on there life insurance specialist. And many times, frankly, because I'm so candid, so blunt with what I do with people, when they say, "What do you do?" I say, "I'm a life insurance agent." And so many times people say, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I want somebody that specializes in that, and I would love to talk to you. I become sometimes a closing agent, unintentionally, by just handing my card and being so overt with it. So what I do is I don't try to glorify what I do at all. I offer life insurance, term both term insurance and whole life. I do like whole life. If I have a choice, I try to market whole life over universal, but I find both products have a great market for both products, for all three products, term, whole life, and universal life. And I just prefer, though, if a person can afford the premium, to go with more guarantees, and I like the guarantees of whole life. So we market a lot of that, and one of the tips that I might suggest, and maybe I'm getting ahead here, Bill, but is that on almost every application that I do, I ask for an additional policy, not an alternate policy, because there is a difference, but I ask for an additional policy. In addition to the term insurance that I might be asking for, I ask for a whole life policy. And I tell my client, if you don't mind, when I do your application, even though you said you might be interested primarily in term, if they said that, I suggest, let me show you all the options that are available for you so that you can be educated on the subject and make an intelligent decision. So when it comes to delivery, I bring them whatever they asked for, which is, if it was term insurance, I bring them that and I'll place that, but I'll say, here is another option for possibly a portion of your protection, and here are the advantages on it. And as a result, we wind up placing, I think, somewhere near 40% of those policies. And some of them are really big. Buster and I sold a term policy one day. It was about a $20,000 premium, and I brought the person a permanent policy, and it was a business, actually, and I threw it on the desk, and I said, I don't know if y'all are interested in this or not. We have no idea, but we got you approved for an extra $1 million of permanent insurance. The premium is 60-something thousand of premium, and why don't you take a look at it and let us know what you think. The next day, they called us up, no discussion. We have a check waiting here for you. And so the concept of additional protection is a big, not a secret of ours, but just a big tip that works. All it takes is asking people to be open-minded about looking at the different options, and that is a big winner for them, and it's a big winner for us.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That makes a lot of sense. Now, let me ask you a question on that note. Do you lead with any kind of auto dealership uses like loss leaders? Do you have any door opener products? Some agents love health insurance, to get the door open and to share their story, to pivot over to life. Or do you just run with that life insurance message to everyone?
Well, Yes and no. The answer is I don't use another product to try to pivot over from. I don't sell
Uh-huh.
health insurance, and I do. Well, I say that I do sell disability income. I think it's an obligation I have to my client to at least expose them to the idea of having disability protection if they're young enough to be able to buy it. But Buster and I use a process called the Amazing Review, and we I think we still have a website on it, but we have a lot of literature on it. We've done some Word documents on it where Buster's prettied it up and done some formal things with it, a presentation. It's called the Amazing Review, and what we try to do is talk to people about the necessity of no matter what kind of insurance they have and how long they've had it, that they should, and even if they've reviewed it recently, a lot of times they haven't reviewed it comprehensively and with a specialist. And so we give them the opportunity to review what they have, to know a lot more about it, about the conversion privileges, about beneficiary designations, about what the premiums are going to do in the future on their policy. So many of them don't know what the premiums are going to do, that if it's term insurance, that it might explode after their 10-year term or 20-year term. And even if they were told that at the beginning, a lot of them forget it. So when we do these reviews, we uncover lots of opportunities to save people money down the road and to improve their plans. So many of them don't feel like they don't have enough coverage. It's probably a list of 15 or more areas that we can improve, and they find tremendous value in that. And oftentimes that leads to, I really like what you guys have shown me, and I would like to take the next step, and that's a physical. And then we come back to them with hopefully a classification and some accurate numbers on what they can do to improve their plans.
That's a great idea. I love that. And you guys put this together yourself.
Yes, we did.
We did, Billy, and I'll kind of give you a real life example. It's an example of now Dad and I teaming up, and everybody has ideas. Ideas are a dime or a dozen, but people that implement them are priceless, as Mary Kay Ash once said. But the founder of Mary Kay. But what we do and what I've done is we'll have an idea, and then Dad will plop it on a document. If you know the EOS system and the story of the integrator, the visionary and the integrator, you're usually one of the two, but Dad is one of those genius folks that can play both. And he's a great operator at the same time as being a visionary. And I can have the vision and idea, but I wouldn't get it on the document. And he'll have it on a document in front of me. And now we use an AI app called Gamma that I can shove that document into there and tell it what to do like an assistant. It'll pretty it up, bullet point it, and boom, and out it comes. And the practical application of that is we wanted to do a review for people, and we tried to buy, Amazing Review, and then it wasn't available. So the Amazing Review, and I played upon the Amazing Race that I piggybacked off that branding already established with the country. And I thought, hey, what's so amazing about it? Well, first of all, the problem is that most people have some insurance here, there, through work. They have it, but they really don't know what all they have and how much they're paying, and when a potential explosion in premium is looming. And a lot of people have a 10, 20-year term. They don't realize how they're going to get kicked out of that policy. And so what we do a review, we spreadsheet it, and we let you know what you're paying, when it's going to, those potential increases come, and you're going to feel amazing about it, because people who care deeply about their family, if they're open-minded to reviewing their program and making sure they are going to have those protection elements in place, when they know that they've done that at the best possible price, they're going to walk away feeling amazing from that review. So that's what we lead with. And like yesterday, how I tie in social media, Dad was able to see this in firsthand. I brought him with me on a business feature that I do. I have one social page in South Tampa called South Tampa is Awesome. And it's got 65,000 followers on Facebook and 30,000 on Instagram. And that's not a brag. It's something I've spent a lot of time doing sunshine, videos and promoting the community and delivering value to the community and businesses and taking pictures and all those things. And so an attorney reached out to me and said, "Hey, how do I advertise on your page?" And I said, "Hey, I do a free feature at plugmybusiness.com." Sent it to him. It's a form they fill out on Google. And he wanted us to come by and do a feature. So I come by, do pictures, a video. I set up my tripod, had him do a little commercial, and I had Dad with me. And then we talk about, he wants to be reciprocal and help me out. We talk about the amazing review, and we were right into a sales situation yesterday and taking him to lunch. And it was a firsthand opportunity for Dad to see how I tie my social media into turning it into an opportunity. And what I've attributed it to is, instead of walking in with the card saying, "Hey, I'm the local insurance guy or realtor," I'm basically rolling out the red carpet for myself through value and delivering value and tagging and all those things. They know who I am before I walk in the door, and they're rolling out the carpet for me. But in fact, I got it rolled out for myself. Hope that helps some
Yeah,
people.
that's great. I love that. Absolutely love that strategy. And I feel like, for you guys, for anyone listening, these days, right, 2025 is very, very different, than 20, 25 years ago, because of the outreach, because of social media, because there's limitless opportunities. If you can figure out like a value add, what's the unique message, right? And then get that out and create a following and brand awareness, and then come in, with the life insurance guru or the life insurance play. It makes it 100 times easier because you're not like everyone else, and you have a leg up. So I love how you guys put that together. That's going to work fantastic for a long, long time. I mean, I love it. It should get bigger and bigger and bigger. I think that's brilliant.
That's the vision. That's the
Yep.
vision, Billy. That means a lot coming from you, and I appreciate the validation, brother. I really do.
And I have to give Buster 100% of the credit for that, because I'm not social media savvy, and I've been able to survive the business without, doing much of that at all. And I was really resistant to it, and that's my issue. But Buster's converting me to being a believer for sure. And I just saw it. We saw it work yesterday. The attorney we met with, he was very adamant about, how can I help y'all? You're helping me, and I want to help you. How can I refer you to business and people that I know? And he asked us. We didn't tell him, this is what we would like to do. And if you like what Buster's done, would you do this for us? He brought the subject up. He said, "I want to help. I want to refer you." And it was just an amazing reaction on his part. So I give Buster 100% of the credit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That
You trained me,
again.
Pop.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. It's just like, it's me, like same story as me and Kerry. He's the conservative one, 20 years ago, saying, "Hey, we can't invest 10 grand into a website. This is crazy. I've been doing it this way and it worked forever." And I say, "Dad, this is the future. You got to be crazy to not have a website and social media." And then for Eddie and for Kerry, when they start to see the proof in the pudding, like that appointment, or like an agent calls in and says, "Wow, I just read your great 5-star reviews. I'm in California and I want to work with you guys." All of a sudden he comes in my office and says, "Bill, this stuff really works." I said, "Dad, of course it would. This is the future. This is today. This isn't 20 years ago. It's a different world. You still have to, do the right thing and be the guru and know, enough to be dangerous on the life insurance side, of course. But then on the other side, the other hat that you wear has to be focused on marketing, social media, what's your differentiator, building outreach and an audience. So you have to have the right side and the left side working together. And that's what you guys are doing. And it's just a great story. And that's yep, that's what works. And that's what's going to set you apart. Because, Eddie, your story and your model is great, but without bringing, the social media aspect, the differentiator, that unique URL that you guys put together, the amazing review. Without all of that, what starts to happen, I'm not saying with you personally, but some of the very successful agents that are veteran type agents, that are getting a little older and maybe they're not up to speed with social media, slowly but surely, unfortunately, their clients and their book is getting smaller. People are passing away. So you got to fill that pipeline again. And where's it going to come from?
The business passes them by. The business passes them by, not to interrupt, but I watched in real estate as the broker and his crony next to him, joshing about Facebook. These people playing on Facebook all day trying to sell real estate. And I said, oh my goodness, they're the old guys at the office that sit there and then get blindsided, and the business passes them by and they look at each other and say, what happened? And I knew I was in the midst of that situation where I was.
That's right. That's right. And then on the other side of the coin, let's just say, as an example, guys like me and Buster, a little younger guys, that maybe we don't know the other side so well. That's not that great either, because you need that partnership. So I feel like you need the left and the right side, right, to make the ultimate combination in business work. And I'll give you just real quick another example. I have an agent in California that's been relying on mortgage protection leads, most, and he's our age, and he's been doing this very successfully for 15, 20 years. And next thing you know, the mortgage business dried up, rates are sky high, and he's saying, Bill, my business slowed down. I need to do something else. What can I look into? And then I made an introduction, to get him started with these online paid social media ads and using Facebook ads and Instagram. And next thing you know, he's back up to where he was, and now he should surpass where he was before. And then if more rates go back down, mortgages go back up, then that business could start again. Now he's got both funnels feeding the system. So you have to constantly be looking and being able to pivot, I guess is my point.
I agree with you, Bill. I actually believe that I have talked to that same agent, if it's the same one. And but anyway, we had a very good conversation, and I'm glad you were able to help him. And go ahead. I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you?
No. It's okay. It's okay. No problem.
But what Buster and I did, and we did this 25 years ago, we developed a system called the SOS system. And we still have it. We taught it for a national insurance company. They paid us very well to come to their home office and teach it to their field force. And we haven't done it. It worked so well, we stopped doing it. And as so many things happen that way. But anyway, we still have it, and we use the SOS system in much of our the way we sell to our clients and customers, and we find it a very effective system of being able to increase business. And we would like to offer that to your associates that might be interested. Not to put too much of a plug here, but just to mention that we have it. It involves learning sales techniques that we use and we know they work, and prospecting techniques that we use and we know that they work. We even teach people how to be better listeners. And that's a real issue, in my opinion. It's one of the most key skills that a insurance salesman can possibly have, or any salesman for that matter, is to be a good listener. And we all hear that, but a lot of times we hear it and really don't know how to improve the listening skill. But there are ways to do that are not difficult to learn, and boy, does that make a difference in the results. I had a case 2 days ago that I went on. It was a first appointment with someone, and I tried to be careful and not talk too much, because sometimes I do way too often. And I asked this person, instead of doing that, I was very careful about asking her questions rather than me imparting all the education that I've had in the insurance business, I asked questions that prompted her to ask me questions back, and that brought out some of the things that I've learned and that I could help her with. And one of my questions was, if you saw something that you liked so much that you wanted to implement that for your own insurance planning and retirement planning, what would be a contribution that you'd be comfortable with? And a lot of times I went in there thinking this person might be comfortable with $50 a month or $100 a month. And her answer, it just about shocked me. She said, I'd be interested. I could handle 30. And I said, oh, well, that's good. And I was thinking it was $30 a month that she was telling me. And I said to her, is it $30 a month, or could you do 100 or what? She said, no, I mean 30,000 a year. And it just blew me over, because I thought, if I hadn't asked her that question and been open to her input, I would have missed the boat. And because she wants to do significant retirement planning and she's got 2 children, have significant life insurance as a face amount to be enforced for her. So it was a win-win from both aspects. And I would not have found that out if I had not been prompting her to ask questions, and for me to answer those questions and to try to really find out what would be the solutions to her needs. And it all goes back to Buster and I were talking about this, really caring about the client, really wanting to listen hard enough and long enough to find out what they need and what they want and what's going to do the best job for them, so that they will be happy and have peace of mind in the long run. And that's what we are aiming for. So,
yeah, like I told Dad earlier, that, what they taught me at a young age, my mom and dad, in sales, which I think is the key factor, that if you don't get this, you won't be successful ultimately, is that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And how you establish with someone that you care is that you become a great listener, and to become a great listener, you got to ask great questions, and then you got to shut up, and so that's some keys there. But a real quick thing, Billy, on what I think would be useful for people to take away from this podcast, as far as a marketing, what can I use to go take to the market right now and get me some business? Dad, and it's another example of how our powers are coming to be together in a digital and a physical side. Dad has always taught one of the SOS systems or techniques is the autopilot prospecting system. So that means you establish like chamber, Rotary, whatever. You do things you love, and you go see the people, like Ben Feldman said. And you do that, and you'll get collectively enough leads from those sources to move your business forward. I take that same concept and take it digitally and maybe create an offer. It's all about offers and systems. Offers like insureyourmortgage.com, the amazing review, those things. I create an offer, not a website, an offer that just leads them into a certain format, a yes or no, put your information in or not. But I took that autopilot prospecting concept and tried to apply it digitally, where might get 2 or 3 leads from this one per month, 3 or 4 from here. But now the combination of the physical autopilot and the digital autopilot prospecting system supplies us with enough leads that we can't even follow up with them all.
Wow. That's amazing. That's happening currently today?
Yes, sir. We're doing the both sides. I'm in the process of establishing those offers of like Dad said, the amazing review, but we want it. It's not done. And then insure your mortgage is just like you said, and we're happy to hear that mortgage information, because I might put that on the back burner for a little bit. But yeah, I'm always thinking of how can we create a digital offer that produces some leads for us. And then if I strike gold and I can geofence it in a 30, 40, 50 mile area around Tampa where we are, if it works here, then we could expand it to any other area that we wanted to. It's just a matter of the right offer, the right systems.
That's right. No, you're exactly right. And that was going to be my next question too, was, you're you hit the nail on the head with, like, if having your gift to gab face to face, you're meeting at Starbucks or the Ponderosa Buffet seminar, you're going to get the sale every time. That's great. But to also have a system running on autopilot in the background, this way you're getting it from one side, you're getting it from another, and then maybe even a third leg, right? You're getting leads from as well, which in my opinion is the ultimate business sales model. And what I wanted to talk about is back to systems, follow up, follow through. Do you guys have a good system in place? Annual policy reviews, keeping that book alive and cross selling. Do you have a good system for all of that in the background?
We do. We do. It's Buster saying, "Dad, have you called so and so? How come you haven't called? How come you haven't called that person in a year and a half or two?" No, we do. We need to improve our system, but we do follow up. We do cross sell, and we do help to develop our clients, where we go back and review on a regular basis. One of the reviews that I like, and I teach it with my SOS system, is the birthday lunch appointment.
That's where I was headed.
And so
I love that.
I'm a believer in birthday lunches as part of the review, because so many times I'll call people for their birthday. That's easy to track, is people's birthdays, to put that on a CRM. And most of the time, I don't have to mention the word insurance, and it comes up during the birthday lunch, and they feel very warm and hospitable toward somebody buying them lunch and recognizing their birthday and honoring their life. And we get a tremendous amount of business from that concept alone.
Wow, I never heard that one before. I love that. And then referrals too. It's a great time to ask for. Yeah. Yep.
Most of the time, Bill, you don't even have to ask. People feel they feel a responsibility almost to, if you've done nice things for them, they want to do nice things for you. And most of them know that a very nice thing to do is to give you a referral. And so that comes up in most cases without even asking for it. But when we do ask for it, we try to find the right place where it fits, where we don't, use any kind of intrusive language to ask for the referrals. We do it hopefully in a polite, tactful way, and it absolutely works. This concept of the birthday lunches and the referrals that go along with it absolutely works, and it works very well.
Yep. And then tell me. Yeah.
Sorry, Bill. Yeah, sorry, but I was just going to follow up with that just a little bit and say that on a second note, another, prospecting is, we didn't invent it, but I think it was a Northwestern Mutual guy named Tom Lipscomb did what's called blitz prospecting. And Dad and I have done this to where we selected our centers of influence. We had a local, head of Habitat, the president. We also had a local hospital administrator. Those had been Dad's clients for a long time. He'd nurtured them, done a great job, but Dad really hadn't ever pressed them for referrals. And so we took them on a lunch specifically to ask them for referrals. In other words, not to pressure them, but to, start giving categories, kind of give them an update of where we were, but to prime the pump, and don't say, who do you know that's this or that, but to say the people that we're finding we help the most are small businesses that are paying a ton in taxes and looking for methods to shelter some of those taxes, and look at, retirement vehicles that can help them and those kind of things. And so that has proven, out of those blitz prospecting lunches, we've gotten the CFO of a local hospital that we're doing significant business with right now. We're about to, and they've just definitely come with the referrals have been forthcoming for sure in doing that, specifically not to go sell them something, but to take them to lunch, update them, and to give them categories and prime the pump of how they can help us. And they want to help us.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. And I think now the next challenge is you've proven the concept, right? Over so many years and growing and success. which is fantastic. But it's taking that model, right, and that footprint and saying, okay, we're doing it, let's say, in northern Florida and the Carolinas. And how do we do this in 20 states and 30 states, and have that same effect? That's phase two, I guess, unless you're already doing some of that. But that's what I would start thinking about, too, as a next step.
That's a great idea, Bill. And please know, we want to do that with you and Dad. So, we can talk after this is over, but we appreciate everything that you're doing for us. But in anything we do, we would like to have you guys involved and love to see if we could help as many people, as many associates as possible, and as many customers that the associates have, that they would be able, hopefully, to help their own customers much more. I wanted to say one thing. I know we might not be at the end, or we may be, but I wanted to say it.
Yeah, we're pretty close. Yep. Okay. We got about 5 minutes left.
So I'll say this real quick. One of the things that the insurance business has done for me, you can imagine with my background as a youngster, how important friendships are to me, and also how important it is for me to be involved with my family, to have time with them, and to enjoy, freedom with them, and be able to do the things that most of us aspire to do. And this business has allowed me to work with my son. My daughter works with us too. She's not licensed, but she works with us. My wife is a good prospector for us. And it has given us exceptional opportunity, I believe, much like you and Dad and Ina have working together, that we've had this wonderful opportunity to live our lives where we can work with each other and have fun and happiness every single day. And that in itself is an amazing business. It's an amazing career, and I'm so grateful for it. And I just wanted to say that if any of the associates are listening, or new people, or thinking about the business, that it is so fantastic, not just from the opportunity to make a good income and to have an affluent life, but to have that opportunity to have the freedom to enjoy your family and really truly be happy with your families. So, well, thank you for allowing me to say that.
Yeah, no, I agree. We all feel the same way. And as you know, my mom, my sister, my father is involved, since 1972 is when Kerry opened the company, and a very similar feel, and we all kind of have that same philosophy too. There's nothing else in the world that would allow this. So I totally agree. What I want to talk about too, real fast, is, and this will be the last part of the episode, is, for some of the younger agents or people that are thinking about getting into the business, what is your one tip or advice, for the younger generation, to keep their foot on the gas, or to even consider being an insurance agent? Anything you can share with them?
Yeah, excuse me. I'd say really there's two things that I'd like to mention. One is, I'll make them brief, but one, we believe in tracking things pretty closely. And one of the things that I do is I have a sheet of paper that I copy every day. I pull it off my computer printer, and it's called Make Today a Masterpiece. And on that sheet, the first thing on there is to say my prayers. The second thing on there is to ride my bike. The third thing is to read for self-improvement. I have some tips to myself to remind myself to do some of the real priorities in my life. And every day, every phone call I make, every sales call I make, every stop, if I go see somebody that I make, and Buster's doing this too, I record that on a sheet of paper, that at the end of the day, I can look at it and remind myself of what I've done to be productive for that day. And it helps me at the end of the day say, wow, I've got 30 things that I've done today, and it really is a masterpiece. Or if I didn't perform well, if I only had two or three or four things on there, and I really meant to do more rather than go fishing or play tennis or what have you, then I'm disappointed with myself if I haven't done that. And I'm accountable to myself. I want to be accountable to me, and so that I'll improve. But to do this masterpiece sheet to me is a concept that could help. If it helps one person, it's worth it. But maybe some others would like that concept too. But anyway, that's one thing. And then the second thing is, I really believe in education for this business, that new people coming in should maybe think about and consider how important it is to have the education in this business that would set them apart, where they would be unique. That's really helped me. I took some college courses on insurance. I've to get some college courses behind you, or just take them with the NAFA organization, to go to some of the meetings and get some coursework in, to possibly look at the CLU designation, to look at the Chartered Financial Counselor designation, and consider being a student with those and learning more about the business than they might ordinarily do so. $1 Million Roundtable also has a wealth of information that's available for agents. They are willing to appoint a mentor for an agent that is interested. To my knowledge, it's no cost. $1 Million Roundtable is a huge resource for agents. Lifehappens.org is a huge resource for agents. It's put together by 7, I think, major insurance companies that have a website that tells you everything about the different types of insurance to buy: life insurance, term insurance, whole life insurance, disability income insurance, long-term care. It's a great website, lifehappens.org. And then to go.
Alrighty.
Okay, sorry, I know. Thank you, Buster. I'm done.
Dissertation on lifehappens.org. That's wonderful. It's all right, but hey, I'll chime in a little bit so we can end it up a little quick or whatever. But it boils down to this. And not to be mean to I'm just joking with you, but it's about, and what would help agents most, it's about your daily habits, and it's about what my dad taught me at age 13. He came to me and he said, "Bus, appointments are the lifeblood of the business." And sales is a numbers business. It is and always will be. And if you don't establish those daily habits of appointments, if you have no appointments on the books, you're basically out of business. And so how do you make appointments? And this is where I tweaked my daily masterpiece sheet, where I actually track what I call my critical daily metrics, like my key performance indicators. I call them CDMs, critical daily metrics. And that's the amount of contacts I have to make to what prospects in order to make my 3 set appointments for the day. And if I can make 15 contacts and get myself 61 activity points, tracking my phone calls and my texts and all my things and my numbers, my money making activity, and I can establish those 61 points to get to those 3 appointments set, those are the only numbers that move my business forward on a daily basis. So I can educate and I can do all the things and do everything, but unless I establish that habit of setting those appointments on a daily basis and get consistent on that, then I'll be one of the ones that unfortunately didn't make it.
Yeah, this is great. This is great pointers. Exactly what Buster just said too. It's doing that not just for a month or 6 months or 2 years. It's consistently doing it year after year, day after day. Persistence. You have to do this over and over to be successful. 20 years ago, today, 10 years from now, whatever it is, that's the only way in this business. I can tell you that much. All right, guys, this is fantastic. I just want to give you both an opportunity. Number one, do you want to share your website and then where you are on social media so the agents can follow you and reach out?
I'll say that, Dad, just to shoot it out. And I will say this about Dad, that's the most impressive thing that I've observed about him in the business, is that his consistency of reaching out to people. He doesn't care whether he's feeling good, feeling like it, or not feeling like it. Nothing matters. he reaches out to people on a daily basis consistently, and that's why he's been a MDRT lifetime qualifying member for 50 years or whatever. But anyway, you can reach us at on Facebook at facebook.com, Levin Insurance and Retirement. Our website is levininsuranceandretirement.com, and on Instagram also Levin Insurance and Retirement. And you can reach Dad on the cell phone or anything like that. Just look us up. We're easy to find.
Yep, or just obviously reach out to us. We can make the intro as well. But I just think in my last few words here, between their value add, these packages, these programs, sales systems, that SOS platform, that amazing review, I think it's fantastic. And I just think what you're seeing, and I mentioned it earlier, we're coming full circle, is, Eddie, who's been doing this for so long, he's proven himself, and they're still growing. And then with Buster's enthusiasm and passion for the business and marketing and branding, it's a win-win, right? And we're seeing the proof in the pudding. So if you're an agent, most important, I hope you walked away with some bullets, some new strategies that you can use, right? And then, step two, if you want to possibly talk about working with them, great, reach out, or we'll make the intro, like I said. Either way, I want to make sure, number one, that you walk away with nuggets from this last hour with the three of us today. That's most important. And then step two is you'll take it from there and see what works for you. But Buster and Eddie, thank you again. This was great, unexpected. I had no idea about a lot of these things, and I learned a lot today myself. So thank you. Do you want to just leave the audience with a word or two before we put a bow on this?
Go ahead, Dan.
Thanks, Buster. I just want to thank you, Bill, and Carrie, Ina, your whole group, your associates there do a wonderful job for us. We're blessed to know you guys and to be able to have you assist us to assist our clients. And I just wish everyone that's listening to be very successful in this business. And if we can help, you don't have to do anything with us. If you just want to call and ask a few questions or anything, we're happy to try to help in any way. We love the business and we love our friends that we have in the business, so we would welcome your call. So thank you very much, Bill.
Thanks for having us,
Buster. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us. I enjoyed it. I didn't intend on being that involved in it. Hopefully I didn't talk too much, but I really enjoyed it. And I thought that was like a mini little SOS system seminar. So that was awesome.
Yep. A through Z. I love it. I love it. All right. Thanks again. Thanks again to everyone listening. Great selling. And we'll see you again next month.
Thank you, Bill. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Bill Levinson Experience. Please feel free to share this podcast with anyone you think would be interested. You may also visit levinsonandassociates.com and all of Bill Levinson's social media pages for more information.